Hey Lee Tribe, now I don't know about you guys, but when I first started with print on demand, I was baffled by the fact that my artwork looked so great in Photoshop, but when some of the things printed, they didn't look as bright or as colorful. So what I'm gonna do in this video is hopefully explain this in layman's terms so you can understand why your art might not print like it looks on your screen. So when you're creating your artwork in Photoshop, GIMP, Illustrator, or whatever program you use, typically you're working in RGB mode. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. And when you mix these colors with light, like you get on a computer screen, you can create a variety of colors. So there's a very, very large color gamut. You can have very bright reds, bright greens, bright blues, and you just have a lot of colors at your disposal. The problem is when you send this PNG file to Amazon, it's actually printed on a CMYK printer. And that stands for cyan, yellow, magenta, and key. The key is actually black, the key color. So when you mix that key color with the other colors I mentioned, you're naturally going to get a darker color. And when you're printing on a canvas or clothing, you don't have access to the same light that you get on a computer screen. So when you mix the colors together, you're naturally going to get duller, darker colors. So if you look at this heart in Photoshop, this looks very bright on my screen, but when it prints, it's actually going to look more like this. This heart was done in RGB mode and this one in CMYK mode. So here's the best thing to do. When you're creating your artwork, it's really best to create in CMYK mode. What that's going to do for you is help you get a better idea of how it's going to look to the customer. And this is exactly why Amazon became such a stickler for making sure we don't ever mention things like bright colors or neon, because CMYK is not really capable of printing neon. It's going to be much duller. I'll give you another example. This is an image I created in RGB mode. Now I'm going to change this to CMYK and look at the blue and watch how it changes. See how it got duller? Let me back up just so you can see the change. There's RGB, CMYK. So the CMYK is much duller. Now the tricky part is when you save your PNG file, it's actually going to be in RGB mode. PNGs can only be in RGB. So you might be wondering, well then why does Amazon make us send them a file that is RGB mode when they are printing in CMYK mode? Well, my designer friend just basically told me that when you're working with digital files, PNG files are really just easier to handle because of their file size, and they're just optimized for the web. So it's really just the best file for the digital transfer. So the moral of the story is when you're setting up your template, just design in CMYK mode so you have a better idea of the true colors that are going to print on the t-shirt or whatever you're creating. Hope that makes sense. And if you're a designer out there, feel free to add to what I've said, or if I screwed anything up, please clear that up in the comments. I hope I did an okay job of explaining this, and I'll talk to you guys later.